Hi, in this segment I am going to speed this up. What I'm going to do is cover my pieces with white paint. And what I've started with, a friend of mine turned me on to this, Tammy Anderson. If you haven't seen her channel, go check it out. They're solid wood. They've been primed twice. They've been painted twice. My star only had black, which I was fine with at the time. They're anywhere from $9 to $12 depending upon where you live. And I cut one piece down to 6 12 by 12s, okay? So I've applied my epoxy sculpt, and it's a 2-part epoxy clay. You can take equal parts. I recommend you do a little at a time. Literally, you can press in exactly what 1 ounce would be of each of them. Like press in, fill this up, fill the cavity up with part A and part B. Then what you do, I'm not going to do it on camera for you right now, but make like a little pancake of the first one. Make a second pancake on top. Cut them in half, layer them together, cut them in half, layer them together. Knead it for about 2 minutes. Let it rest for 5. And you've got about an hour. They said hour to 3 hours, but I'd say a good hour where it's soft. And I actually found on this board I could roll it out to get my things smaller and smaller. I've been practicing with this stuff. This is a technique I learned from Catherine at Dryer Days, D-R-Y-E-R, just like a hair dryer days. And she has a lot of sculpture that she does a lot of prep work on her geode forms. This is going to be more just an abstract with some resin and some glass. I'm not going to necessarily call it geode, but it's going down that road. But I like the idea of having forms here where my resin can lay its own little areas, or I can feed some glass where I want it. Anyway, I'll get back to you because I'm now going to paint this with some white paint. So we're going to begin by adding some white paint to our board. The epoxy sculpt that I got was a gray, and they do offer it in a white, which I will get next time. That first section, I tried to apply a mixing white. I wasn't getting that much coverage, so I switched to our vivid cyan white enamel. You can use any white paint that gives you good coverage. I just really prefer the enamel base because it sticks to any surface, wood, glass. I'm not worried about the adhesion. And I'm priming my board with a white because I plan on doing some color-coded sections on top. Make sure you get all the little crevices of the epoxy sculpt, because I've taken that clay, rolled it, pinched it up, made the form, and you want to make, like I said, you want to make sure to get all in all those little nooks and crannies. Again, I have the link if you're interested to Catherine from Dryer Days video about building your based form with the epoxy sculpt on her boards. She shows you exactly how she does it, how she measures it out. It really is a great presentation. I'm very, very impressed by her channel. So if you may want to check it out. And she doesn't even use our products. Someday, maybe, hopefully, she will. But she's just really good at what she does. So thought I'd share this technique. Now, I found any paint kind of beads up on this. I think the board is coated with something to protect it. So don't do what I did. Do what I'm telling you to do.
Wash it good with a little soap and water or put some alcohol on it and it'll help to get your paint to adhere. My paint eventually laid down for me, but as you can see, I'm touching it up where it looked like it beat it up. Okay, so coming up here, we're going to be making some custom colored rocks in a second. You're going to see a little introduction for that. We're going to do some rock colors and some fiberglass colors with the Vivid Art fluid and primary elements. So here's some colors I had already previously made with the primary elements. It's a dry paint system from Color Art. And these little rocks, they're a synthetic rock I got off of Amazon. They're used as a little succulent filler for your little pots, but I love how they absorb the color. It's something about what they made them out of. This color is that Payne's gray. I just love the sparkle and brilliance that the primary elements gave us. And the one on the right is the Mystic Blue. The one on the left is the Snapdragon. It's a kind of a violet. So I'm explaining how I kind of mixed them like salad. This is jasmine. Now, I use the pigment and I use Vivid Art Fluid. It's our acrylic extender. We use it as a pouring medium. It bonds our color to surfaces. We've also used it as a way to seal fabric or wood before you paint over it, just so your paint sits up on the surface and doesn't soak in. So it just got loaded up on the website this week and it's brand new. Vivid Art Fluid. Okay, so let's make some. I'm pouring some of the Vivid Art Fluid in my spray bottle. Now I'm taking some of the Stargazer and sprinkling a little bit of the powder in. It's about a third of that scoop, and that scoop is an eighth of a teaspoon. Give it a couple spritzes. Now, for the video purposes, I left the top off, but you can put the top on and shake it to get that color dispersed. Spray bottle, when I made them, I dripped it in. The spray bottle makes it so you're not using too much of the moisture. I just love that beautiful iridescent brilliance of that color, that kind of that green tone. That's from the interference green. Takes the excess out, drop in a paper towel. Any excess moisture will be soaked up by the paper towel, and then use your heat gun to gently dry them, and they're ready to use. So we're going to make a second color, the Mystic Blue. It's kind of a dark blue teal color. Depends on what surface it soaks into. It can get all the way to an almost a Guatemalan green, depending upon again how tough the surface is. I love the random sparkle here and there, how some parts of the rocks are dark or other light. The interference blue is kind of sticking to the sides. And again, I'll hit it with my heat gun just to make sure all the excess moisture is pulled out of there. And of course, my paper towel is going to soak up anything extra. Now look at these. I have some of the sapphire, I mean the snapdragon, and some of the there goes that mystic blue we just made. Let's try to do a combination of the three colors. That would be a great filler. Okay, so now let's make some glass, some fire glass. If you've not used fire glass before, it's what they use to put in the fire pits outside. It comes in a half inch and a quarter inch. Quarter inch is definitely big enough. Uh, it comes with a reflective side. This was the platinum. I think it was moonlight platinum, meaning there's just a little bit of a silver cast on one side. There's a reflective side to it. Now, this is the carmine. I just had to show off a couple of these colors before we made another one. I really liked how the carmine turned out. Very beautiful red. Some of that red, those colored fire glasses are really expensive. If you're buying this champagne or I got this from Celestial Glass, the description will have the link to it. It was about $29 for 10 pounds, so that's $2.99 a pound. Okay, so let's make our own. I'm scooping out a couple scoops of the fire glass, and I'm going to keep some extra in my cup as a backup. In case my mix is too moist, I can toss more glass in. This color is called Playful Peony. It's a gorgeous pinky coral. Same amount, about a third of that scoop, which is basically a third of an eighth of a teaspoon. Give it a couple spritzes. I'm going to add the rest of that glass in so it could soak it up. Now, if you put the lid on, these little tops come with lids, and shake it up, that's probably the fastest way to do it. Now, to add extra little sparkle, I'm going to take a little bit of our Bling It Sparkle Gold. It's not interference gold, it's a sparkle gold. It's a little bit slightly larger particulate, which will glitter like little diamonds under the resin. I am just loving this color. I think I'm going to use it on my next piece. I've already decided what I'm going to use in this piece, but I really, really like that color. Okay, so now it's time to continue painting our board. I apologize, the camera messed up, so those light blue areas are painted with Mystic Blue and Vivid Enamel, clear enamel. The darker area is the Payne's Gray mixed with the Vivid Enamel on my little paper plate and paintbrush. This is a tip I learned from Catherine at Drier Days again, is to map out where I'm going to put everything and then color it. It was Tammy Anderson that's all about mapping it out. It's Catherine from Drier Days about color coding where you're going to put them. So next I'll be using the Indian Spice mixed with the Vivid Enamel. Now Indian Spice currently is sitting in the Resin Art page. You will very, very soon find it also in the Bling It area because it is straight mica. No actual extra color has been added. But it is a gorgeous gold. And I'm going to try to coat my lines here that I did with my epoxy sculpt. Actually, that one I'm painting right there, that piece came off and I had to put a little bit of emergency piece of hot melt glue right there. That very first one I'm painting down. So you can see it looks a little bit jagged. But I've decided to kind of identify where my epoxy sculpt lines are. and give them all a little pop of color before went any further. Indian spice is a very, very rich gold, almost the color of curry. This lighting looks a little bit light, but we get towards the end and you start seeing us fill in the cavities with it, you'll see it's a very rich, rich antique gold. Thus the name Indian spice. Like I said, it reminded me more of a deep curry gold versus a bright yellow gold. So I'm mixing it as I need it. If you see, I just mixed up a little bit more. Uh, One thing about being able to mix your own colors up is you can control the color saturation. And yeah, we sell colors in bottles to help those that don't have the time to mix them themselves or are maybe not interested in it or it's not their comfort zone. But if you have control of the color saturation, that's kind of the whole concept of the primary elements or the resin art. And we want to give the artists ultimate control about the color in their artwork. Now, if you notice, you'll see little markings in the white area. I took a mechanical pencil and kind of even mapped out where I was going to put everything. And where was I going to do a dirty pour and where am I going to put my rocks and that actually is a Tammy Anderson tip is to really 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 map out in advance, have a game plan. You can always change it up, and I did. My original intention is that top left area that's green, I think I was going to do more rocks or glass, but I thought that would look too balanced, too matchy matchy. So I changed my mind after I got this lilac down that I was going to put a dirty pour up in that corner. But at least I had a plan in advance of what I was going to do. So I'm heating it with my heat gun, quick dry on the acrylic. So I tried using my glue gun. It's not a very good glue gun. I needed a glue gun to put down about a teaspoon of glue at a time, and it wanted to put down a couple drops at a time. I think I'm sending it back. So I went about it the old-fashioned way and just laid the glass in. And boy, let me tell you, at this point, I was really grateful that that epoxy sculpt was there to contain my glass where I wanted it to lay. I would not have wanted to freeform this on a board that did not have defined areas that I have had segmented out for myself. So I've decided to enhance it just a little bit, sprinkled a little bit more Mystic Blue, sprinkled a little bit of the Bling It Blue Sparkle. That way it really glitters under my resin. And I'm just giving it a little bit of a spritz, and it's ready. That's going to dry way before we get the resin down, and I'll always be able to hit that with my heat gun, so I'm not worried at all. So at first, my rationale was to, I thought I was going to put the light rocks up against the dark. I'm not sure why I changed my mind. But those are the light rocks that we made on camera, those light lilac rocks. And I'm going to put some of those mystic blue, the second color that we also made on camera together. Feel like I'm doing a little mosaic thing, a little action there. First, I thought I was going to put them in that little tiny section there. I thought, no, I think I'm actually going to put gold there. I was thinking about it and decided to use that combination of colors that I had showed you guys on camera. It has the Payne's Gray, it has a little bit of the Snapdragon, a little bit of the Mystic Blue, and some of those lavender rocks that I made. Okay, so now I've got some resin mixed up. I am using art resin, and I'm just dribbling a little bit of resin all throughout my rocks, making sure that every little area gets covered. Trying to keep it contained in the areas that I've created for it so the resin doesn't go into the next section over. And now I'm adding a little bit of resin over my synthetic rocks that we've colored with the primary elements and vivid art fluid. At this point, I'm really grateful that those colors were painted first, those sections were painted first. So back again to a shout out to Catherine. I really would have been bummed had that been a white background. It's nice to have those areas painted underneath. So now I'm mixing my art resin with some of the Andromeda blue. It is a deep, 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 deep dark blue. And I'm going to apologize for you guys right here. I had to redo the voiceover on this, and I can hear my gardeners in the distance starting to come closer. Hopefully, we'll be done with this video before they get to my backyard. Yay! So in my dark blue areas, if it's not too obvious, this is where I'm going to lay down the Andromeda blue. And it is very, very sparkly, kids. This is not for the weak of heart. It is no glitter in there. That is all mica that makes that light dance with the color. Make sure you get into all the little tiny nook and crannies. Same way when I was painting with a paintbrush. Take the time to get that resin into those little nooks. You won't be sorry that you took those extra couple minutes to do it. You'll be really bummed if you don't. Okay, so my next blue section is getting more of this wonderful Andromeda blue. So now comes the Indian spice in full color. I think I'm wiping down any of that extra resin that might have dribbled over from the glass. Remember when I sealed those little glass chunks? I want to make sure my area is nice and clean for my Indian spice to go down. Once again, being very careful to get into all the nooks and crannies. So I've mixed up uh, some of the stargaze, stardust, aquamarine, purple sapphire. You see that go down in a second. And I had so much of the Andromeda, I poured some of that in there too. I got a little heavy handed with the Andromeda. Stuff's so pretty, I want to take a bath in it. So I'm filling in now. This was supposed to be my little dirty pour area, but I got a little nervous and just drizzled the colors on top of one another. The plan is to uh, get all my areas neatly put in. Oh, by the way, make sure you pop your bubbles as you go, just a little light heat. But the plan is to get all the little, that whole cavity kind of filled up. And then I'm going to give it a light little comb with a spoon. And can't leave out a little bit of gold. So I kind of got, haven't combed that yet, but I will. I kind of got lost in let's cover up some of those gold lines I painted with the enamel and the pigment with the actual gold and the same gold in the resin. Only thing you got to be really careful. You're going to see right at the end, the very end of the video, where I scooped out a little bit of extra gold that had dribbled into my blue area. Again, you see me using the heat gun again. I'm just constantly popping the bubbles with a little bit of warmth. Okay, so now I'm actually going to get brave and make what is truly a dirty pour. I'm dumping all the colors in one cup. I kind of like the dirty pour almost better than where I drizzled the colors in. It's more random. You get prettier patterns. There I was. I did that little comb as I promised. And I can hear the gardeners getting a little bit closer. I apologize to everyone. We are almost in the last few seconds of this video, but fortunately I can hear them the next house over. Do you see what happened there when I put more Andromeda on top of the Andromeda that already settled? You get a secondary pattern in that blue. It was beautiful. Here's where I'm picking out some of that gold that got into my blue. More heat and give it a little bit more heat. So here's a close-up immediately after it's wet. I'm going to get my camera from my phone with a flashlight on it so you can see how glittery and sparkly that is. That Andromeda is just stunning, as is that Indian spice. I guess I'm a little bit of a fan of these colors. I just could not believe how gorgeous these colors are sparkling. That Andromeda is in the new Galaxy Diamond collection. And coming up will be the finished piece dry the next day.
And so here it is, dry the next day, my very first attempt at doing basically a structured abstract that has some glass that I personalized and colored, the rocks that I personalized and colored. I will get a better glue gun because I really wanted to be able to glue this stuff down and not have to secure it with the resin, even though it worked. I just dribbled a little clear resin over the top to make that work. Same thing with my little rocks. The dirty part first I was a little bit worried about because this one I just kind of laid the colors in and then combed them, and this one I literally put in a cup and did a dirty pour. That Andromeda is such a pretty color. Try to get a close-up on different sections of this thing. Even though the sparkle in the Andromeda makes you, it's not glitter. We all know it's not glitter, but it's pretty bright. So I want to give you guys an idea of what each area kind of looks like. I really like how that turquoise turned out. I know my camera's kind of reading it green. I have new lights coming today. Something's going on with my lighting system, and too many times my turquoises are reading like Kelly greens and they're not. But that Indian spice didn't do too bad on coloring my lines. How pretty this thing is dry. The colors are extraordinary and so sparkly. So I think to finish it off, just because my rocks are kind of high, and again, this is a little 12 by 12. It's a lot of raised stuff for this. I'm going to tape this off and then just do one more layer of clear. I'm real excited, my first attempt at trying this. I have several other boards already epoxy sculpted and painted and ready. So kind of be prepared to see me go on this kind of roll here for the next couple days. I know I went down the polypore road, and you polypore people, I'll get back to it. Even though you will get it, you see how I can customize the little rocks when I was using the primary elements that's in your polypore starter set, and the vivid art fluid. So there was a little bit of something for everybody. And if you guys have ever thought about doing this, getting that little Rubbermaid shelf, cutting it into 6 pieces. So this little board cost me $2. Not a bad little start to be able to practice. I think the total amount of resin on this was 8 ounces, and I actually had more than I needed, but it's not bad for a beginner. Anyway, I hope you have a great day and keep on pouring, guys. Bye.